Greetings and salutations, guys. I got my quick thoughts here on Daredevil Born Again Episode 3. So full spoilers for that episode follow. All right, let's get into it. This is a good episode. It sort of tied up the White Tiger trial aspect, but it's certainly leading us into the next realm of the show and clearly going much bigger on the Punisher of it all. I definitely am feeling, though, the want to have Daredevil back fully. To have Matt in that costume acting as Daredevil, not only because it's the third episode of the show and we only saw him in the costume in the very beginning of the first episode, but also just looking back at the past few years and the fact that he only wore that suit all the way through Daredevil Season 2 and in the last couple episodes, I think, of Defenders. So that's 2016 and 2017. And then after that, Season 3 of Daredevil, he had sort of quit being Daredevil. He's wearing the black, very just sort of streetwear costume during that season. And then we saw him sporadically, in the years since. And we saw him pop up in She-Hulk. We saw him pop up in Echo in costume. But those were guest appearances. So I just want Daredevil fully back being a Daredevil in a Daredevil show for the first time since 2016. I think we're almost there. I'm guessing we are almost there with him putting that costume back on. But I'm hoping it's episode 4. We'll find out. This was very trial focused. This is also an episode where I'm guessing the vast majority of it was from the original shoot. And again, that's going to be an interesting, strange distinction throughout this series is how much are we watching from what they shot the first time and then what is from the retooling. It's pretty clear that, the trial, the White Tiger trial, is all from the first shoot. Sadly, a big reason we know that is because Kamar De Los Reyes died at the end of 2023, so obviously didn't participate in the reshoots, but you can just tell that this was what they shot the first time. This trial was always a big part of it, probably leading into the Punisher. And that Karen and Foggy weren't there, and so that they couldn't be part of this because he had Kirsten as his new law partner. I thought it was decent. There were things about it that were a little cheesy, and yet I also liked. Basically the whole idea of these people testifying about the good the White Tiger has done and what a hero he is. I don't know if I believe that this would be allowed in this trial, but of course we're also in a world of superheroes, of costumed vigilantes and superheroes, so it's really hard to do an exact one-to-one. Would they let all these people who have nothing to do with this case come in? I understand that, Matt decided to make this huge pivot to even bring up the fact that Hector was the White Tiger, but yeah, it seemed a little strange that they would have this many character testimony people come in, but maybe they would. I don't know. Again, it's, this is many years into having superheroes in this reality, in this universe. So maybe this would be more of an expected course. And yeah, a little cheesy with all the different things they were saying about, a great person he is and how he saved them, but also sweet. Also, a very sort of nice sentiment here. Again, because I think we're going to clearly lead back into Matt getting in that costume. And now he's not only has he has Hector give him this sort of speech, this sort of talk about why he does what he does and the significance of it. But now Hector has been killed. And so this will probably, get Matt to be personally involved in it. Clearly, that is not Frank Castle who killed him at the end. We keep seeing these cops with the Punisher tattoo. I kind of have to commend them just for going there, right? This is this real life thing that the comic books have now addressed and now the TV series is going to address, which is people taking the Punisher logo on for themselves, including some in law enforcement and, believing like, hey, this is a mark of, me being a tough guy and the fact that Punisher's not someone you should be emulating. He is not, doing the right thing in any way. And clearly, this will be interesting to have Frank Castle come back into the story and what he thinks about this, about his imagery, his logo being taken in this manner. And yeah, if you don't know, in the comic books, they did a version of this story of dealing with this thing that has very much happened in our real world and has made Marvel kind of have to be delicate with even using that logo and feeling like it's been subverted in ways that they don't want. But Frank Castle probably doesn't want that either. So yeah, I do commend them for sort of going there. If they're going to bring the Punisher back, this is a good way to do it. And yeah, I'm curious how that'll go. As far as the stuff that I'm sure was done in the retooling, well, clearly everything with Vanessa, because they had recast her in the original iteration. Then they brought back the original actress here. And this storyline, it is starting to, I think, to sort of gain some steam. I didn't know if it was going to just be sort of the therapy stuff, but Vanessa's restlessness and the fact that she was really calling the shots with the criminal enterprise of it all. And I really like when that one of the lieutenants says, "I don't work for the mayor, I work for the man." And then you kind of realize, oh, Vanessa's the man. She had put herself in that position while Fisk was gone. So we have this sort of rising tension of, is this going to be a intermarriage gang war of some sort? And not a gang war, I'd say, because Fisk isn't controlling a gang, but the fact that, there's this tension between them and what's going to happen with, the people that he has been controlling. She points out they kind of need the kingpin, whether it's him or her, and they've removed that from the equation. She doesn't think that's a good thing, and she might be right. We'll see as we continue forward. I thought it was fun with Cherry, the bait and switch, both for the guys who were trying to stop the testifying from happening at the trial, but also for us in the audience, that they'd switched out where that character was it Torres, I believe, was the character that was gonna come to testify, that they swapped him into a different vehicle. That was all fun. I do, though, hope, again, want Matt back in the Daredevil costume, and also just want more action. I don't need every episode. Like, there can be episodes that have no action, but I just think, you want to deliver on that title character. It was a little strange to me that we didn't see Matt's closing argument. We saw the prosecutor's closing arguments, and sort of the strong case he was making about real heroes don't need to hide, and that the fact that if Hector's done all this good stuff, it doesn't stop him from doing something bad as well. And because I thought that they were presenting his strong closing argument, it was a little strange to me not see Matt's. But okay, Matt won. I mean, we know he did a good job, and that it clearly worked. I would have liked to have seen that side of it, though, since this was so trial focused. And I like that, by the way. I'm glad we're getting a full trial thing here with Matt, because that was something else we didn't get a lot of. Season 3 of Daredevil, which I love Daredevil season 3, but its whole thing by being born again, that storyline, even though it wasn't titled that, he wasn't in the costume and he wasn't working as a lawyer. So we've got the lawyer part back, and that's great. And actually, I hope that we see more of him in a courtroom, because that is such an intrinsic part of Matt Murdock. So we just need the flip side now of getting him back into the red costume going forward. I am curious, how much we'll sort of see the seams a little bit more here as we continue through the season. Again, we know, they reshot little things. Like, he has that scene with Heather where he talks about Foggy. Clearly must be a reshoot. I hate that I'm hyper aware of this stuff, but it's hard not to be, because this show had a very sort of public change with the way they did it. But I still think, this is really solid. I don't think it's clicked in yet fully, as far as like, oh man, this is Daredevil at its best. This is as great as Daredevil season 3, but it's pretty damn good. And because it's kind of a Frankenstein season, I actually give them a little bit, maybe extra credit. It's both extra criticism and extra credit, right? I'm hyper aware of the stuff where they're stitching together things, but I also think it's working pretty well, which makes me more excited to see when we kind of get through this and we're at the all new material where it can be a little cleaner going forward past this point. So a good episode, and let's see Frank Castle's return. I don't know if it's going to be in the next episode, but it's clearly imminent, and I am excited to see how that goes. All right, guys, what did you think? Let me know in the comments if you were into this episode, if you just chomping at the bit as me to see Matt back in the red. All right, guys, if you can if you can subscribe, all that good stuff, that'd be great. I'll be back with more thoughts on Daredevil Born Again. Oh, one more thought. I guess those two cops that Matt beat the hell out of at the end of episode 2 are okay. I mean, we saw the one guy show up with a bunch of bruises on his face, but man, the way they shot that, it almost seemed like he'd broken the guy's neck. So I guess it just was a bad fall, but not as bad as it seemed. And that's good, because if Matt had just straight up murdered those cops, even if it was in self-defense, I think that would be opening a huge can of worms. So on one hand, it's good that they're not dead. Maybe they should have shot that so it didn't seem quite as brutal, quite as at least you'd think maybe like crippled for life as it looked. But no, it was just a flesh wound.